And we start with a news story this morning. Albuquerque police had a scary situation on their hands overnight. It started at Zuni and Wyoming, the same area where, remember, earlier yesterday an officer shot and killed a teenage woman they thought was stealing cars.
Yeah, police say a man pointed a handgun at several people in the same area, and when police spotted him, they say that he took off, but not before pointing a handgun at police. Now, this is video from the end of the chase here. Police say the man was suicidal and homicidal. After the man took off from police, APD's air unit was deployed to follow him. Spike belts were set up. An APD hostage negotiator spoke with the man on his cell phone. The negotiator tried to get the man to stop, but he refused. Cops say the man ditched his car and took off on foot at Rio Bravo and Del Rio. An APD canine then went after him.
At the time when the dog was approaching him, he did toss a handgun that was recovered at the scene. There was also other handguns that were here located at the scene.
The suspect is now in custody. His name has not been released. Police say the vehicle that he was driving was stolen. Now, as you mentioned, Matt, that situation started in that same area where APD killed a suspected car thief just yesterday morning.
Police Chief Gordon Eden says the 19-year-old woman who died pointed a gun at officers. Now, we should get more details about this a little bit later today, but we have learned a lot more since we brought you this as breaking news yesterday morning. News 13's Samantha McDonald is out near Zuni in Wyoming where it all happened. Good morning to you, Sam.
Good morning, Matt. Well, things are quiet here now, but that wasn't the case yesterday morning after police opened fire on a teenage suspect. APD Chief Gordon Eden says while officers were looking for a suspected auto thief, they spotted the suspect running east on Zuni from Wyoming about 6 a.m. yesterday morning.
An officer pursued on foot when the suspect stopped, turned, and pointed a handgun at close range. The officer fired at the suspect.
The suspect died at the scene. News 13 has learned the woman killed was 19-year-old Mary Hawks, the daughter of former Belen police officer and retired Valencia County Judge Danny Hawks. He's well known for trying to help troubled kids turn their lives around, adopting and fostering children like 19-year-old Mary. Mary Hawks had been arrested at least 4 times in the last year on charges including shoplifting and drinking. APD says only one officer fired at Mary Hawks. They have not yet released the name of that officer, but we do know they are placed on standard paid leave. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thank you for the update this morning, Samantha. We have learned that the retired judge, Danny Hawks, also has a son who is an Albuquerque police officer. Yesterday's deadly shooting is the first police shooting since the federal government came down very hard on APD for what the Department of Justice calls a pattern of excessive force and a culture of aggression. We're going to stay on top of this latest police shooting both on air and all the time online at KRQE.com.
We're going to have to wait for at least a few more weeks to find out what Albuquerque City Councilors want to do with the Police Oversight Commission. That is the group that's supposed to police the police department. Last night, the City Council decided to wait until the next few weeks to talk about a plan to give the POC some real power, something the Department of Justice report mentions is lacking in Albuquerque. The mayor's office essentially controls what cases the POC can hear. Also, last night, councilors also introduced a plan to scrap the POC until an overhaul is finalized. And the Albuquerque's police department is looking at a new technology that would send information to officers' cell phones based on where they are through GPS. Right now, officers get it from people looking that info up. The City Council heard about this and the real-time crime center last night. It's a high-tech area APD created after the police shooting started a few years ago, some involving the mentally ill. And it's supposed to tell officers if people have mental health issues, restraining orders, or criminal histories before they get to a scene.
Based on what the officers are telling us and the fact that they're calling us now all the time, wanting help, wanting assistance, wanting more information, tells me that our information is being effective at helping them make the right decisions.
The Real-Time Crime Center's director says the program was used in about 10,000 calls, and that's just last year.
At 5:05 now, the star running back for the UNM Lobos is in jail this morning, accused of raping another student. Crusoe Gongbe here is charged with kidnapping and rape. Gongbe will be a senior in the fall and was expected to start this year. However, he has been suspended indefinitely from the team after turning himself in yesterday afternoon. UNM police started investigating this case 2 weekends ago when a student told a campus security guard she had been raped. We have learned the student says that she was taken from an off-campus house party, raped in a car by Gongbei and 2 other men, then dropped off at the Casa dorms. UNM police are not saying much about this right now, except that they do have enough evidence to press charges.
Officers were dispatched to the Casa dorms. They met with the female. They subsequently took her to the SANE unit, the sexual assault nurses examiner. From there, evidence was collected and has been subsequently sent to the state laboratory for processing.
Another man, Ryan Ruff, who is not a UNM student, also turned himself in connection with this case, and police are working on a sketch of a third man they say is involved.
Underground work at WIP with help from some experts from out of town. They come from the South Carolina Department site. They are in Carlsbad to teach and train workers on installing high-efficiency air filters below ground. The current filters need to be replaced because they were underground at the time of the February radiation leak. Crews are holding mock drills to get hands-on experience before they have to go underground to swap out the filters. Scientists at Sandia National Labs have created a tiny tester that can actually detect anthrax. The tester is the size of a credit card. Eventually, it will sell for about $5 to $7 and self-destruct after it's used. The creators hope their product will help people around the world by preventing anthrax outbreaks in cattle. The testers will also help detect anthrax and contaminated letters that are often sent to politicians. Sandia Labs is working with a local company to begin marketing the device.
From today's Albuquerque Journal, we've all done such a great job conserving water in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. We could start paying more for it soon. The Water Utility Authority is making less money because we're using less water, just like it asked us to. So at its meeting tomorrow night, it's going to look at a 5% rate hike that would start in July. That means most of our bills would go up about $3 a month. We'll let you know what the Water Authority decides.